I was a concrete batch plant manager for 8 years, making $130,000 a year. But last year, I did something that looks pretty stupid on paper. I quit. I tried to start my own contracting business, and I thought I had a plan. But 4 months later, my wife told me that we were having a baby. And so my reaction was, wait, what? Not that I didn't want a baby, it's just I didn't feel ready. I knew we needed a bigger apartment, but with the business making $0 and the fact that we lived in the garbage state, I'm sorry, the garden state, I'm sorry, New Jersey, we were going to pay a fortune to get a two-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood. We looked at affordable places, but they were in really bad neighborhoods. I wouldn't start a family in these neighborhoods, let's put it that way. So I did the logical thing. I panicked. I started considering going back to my old job, which I could have done because I left on good terms and they would have taken me back. But a voice inside of me kept telling me, don't do it. It wasn't about the people because I liked my old bosses. It was about the lifestyle. You see, I was a manager in name only. In reality, I did the work of four people, sometimes more. I was the manager, the dispatcher, the janitor, sometimes the mechanic, and the driver, and the equipment. Oh, let's just say it had character. I dealt with disasters on a daily basis. For example, one day a truck would tip over because the so called ground underneath it would collapse. Another day, a driver would call me and they'll be like, the radiator hose blew, the engine overheated, we couldn't finish pouring, the customer's gonna sue you. And I don't like this job, I'm gonna quit. And yeah, there's 5 yards left in the mixer. So you might wanna hurry. I realized that if I go back to my old job, nothing really is gonna change. I would still work 12, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, which my wife really hated, by the way. And that meant that she would have to quit her job to take care of the baby. I would just be the dad who works all day to pay the bills and never sees his kids. And I didn't want that. I wanted to be the dad who never leaves the house. Wait. So then I realized it's not just about me. It was about all of us. My wife just started her career. She was planning on becoming a licensed engineer, and I fully supported her. So the idea of her quitting to be a stay at home mom out of necessity didn't sit well with us. We didn't want either of us to resent the baby for stopping our lives. I didn't want to tell my son one day that I made this sacrifice for you. Instead, we wanted to tell the baby that because of you, we made our lives better. So I knew that we had to come up with a plan, and it probably involved moving out of the state, out of New Jersey. And that's when it kind of hit me. Like, if we're going to start over, why not do something that I'm truly passionate about? Why not just finally follow my passion? Because to be honest, contracting wasn't really my passion. Before all of that, before concrete, if you can believe it, I was a 3D animator. Sometimes I can't even believe that. But yeah, I went to art school. I have a bachelor's in fine arts with a major in 3D character animation. And I worked in New York City as a freelance animator for 7 years. That was back in 2011. And I remember having this dream of being a storyteller. I just wanted to tell stories, which is why I got into the animation in the first place. But I kept delaying following my dream. I kept saying, maybe after I finish paying off my student loan, which was a lot, by the way, $160,000 to get an art degree, which is pretty crazy. But that was including interest, obviously. And I kept saying, like, maybe I could follow my dream after I'm married, or after I do this, after I do that. And I kept saying, I could do it later. And finally, I looked in the mirror and I realized that this is later. I'm 40 years old. When am I going to start following my passion, really? When I'm 70 years old? Life is too short. I mean, technically, I passed my midlife, and this whole situation felt like a crisis, which made it a midlife crisis. The point is, the baby was the kick in the butt that we needed. So I looked at rent prices in North Carolina. They turned out to be less than half of what we paid in New Jersey. The engineering firm that my wife worked for had a branch in North Carolina. So she asked for a transfer, and they said yes. And that's how we moved to North Carolina. We got a 2-bedroom apartment, 5-minute walk away from her new office, which is pretty amazing to be able to cut the commute time. And this was the perfect win win for everybody. My wife gets to keep building her career, and I get to be the full time dad. And I get 1 year to make this storytelling career work. I'm not gonna lie, moving to a new state is not an easy thing to do. To start a new family in a new place, it scares a lot of people, but that's why you need to have a great partner. For us, our lives got a lot better. We spend more time together, and I cook healthy food for us, no more junk food or fast food, and I get to exercise more. But the best part is that I'm spending time with my son while doing the thing that I'm truly passionate about. The only problem is that he poops too much. So I'm in the process of writing our story. It's called A Concrete Promise. I've been making some illustrations as well and making videos about them, posting them on YouTube. And at the time of making this video, I have 35 subscribers, which is really amazing. And I would like to thank you guys for um, giving me this feeling that I'm making progress. It's amazing to feel that my work is resonating with people. I understand that there's a long way to go, which is what makes this journey exciting. It's the challenge. And honestly, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for my wife. She is the real reason I have this chance. I wish this video was about how I made it, but the truth is, I'm still too far away from the finish line. And the clock has been ticking. It's been 6 months already, which means I have 6 more months to go to turn this channel and the novel into a career. And let's face it, this might not work, which is fine because at least I gave it a try. And I can always go back to concrete. So if you want to see whether or not I'll be able to make it, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.